preparing for a series of battles against terrorists.
Help us round up these people.
The president lines up world support and orders warplanes to the Persian Gulf. CBS News learns targets may include Saddam Hussein. The money trail. Did terrorists make millions manipulating markets before the attack? And remembering two brothers, casualties in a new kind of war.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Special extended coverage of America Rising. From CBS News headquarters in New York, here is Dan Rather.
Good evening. U.S. military forces are on the move tonight to be in position for possible strikes against people and governments linked to terrorism in general and specifically the murderous attacks in New York and Washington. President Bush spent much of this day trying to line up international support and the support of the American people for what he sees as a sustained war against terrorists. It cannot be a war without more American casualties. The president will address a joint session of Congress tomorrow night at 9 Eastern Time. Hear more of today's developments. The president ordered U.S. warplanes and missiles to the Persian Gulf for Operation Infinite Justice. The president met with or telephoned world leaders trying to enlist their help. Mr. Bush again demanded that Afghanistan's Taliban leaders turn over suspected mastermind Osama bin Laden. At ground zero of the terror attacks in New York City, on night 9, it is still officially a search and rescue operation. President Bush says the attacks affected the U.S. economy in a big way, shocked it, the president said. The latest fallout, American Airlines and United Airlines are cutting a total of 40,000 jobs. Boeing is cutting 30,000. On Wall Street, the post-attack sell-off continues. The Dow plunged more than 400 points before recovering to finish the day with a final loss of 144 for the day. The Nasdaq off 27. At the Pentagon, planning is moving ahead for a war on terror. CBS's David Martin reports tonight some around President Bush believe now that it should include finishing what they see as the unfinished business of the Gulf War. David?
Dan, the first orders have been issued and the military buildup for the war against terrorism is beginning. There is a battle within the Bush administration over who the target should be. Everyone wants to go after Osama bin Laden, but some senior officials see this as a chance to finish off Saddam Hussein.
With security so tight, even the sailors were being screened. A battle group headed by the carrier Roosevelt got underway from Norfolk, Virginia this morning and headed east. This was supposed to be a routine deployment, but the new mission was broadcast loud and clear.
Now it is time for us to pick up the mantle, to destroy terrorism, and remove this cancer.
The Roosevelt and a Marine Amphibious Task Force, which is scheduled to get underway tomorrow, are only part of the forces the Pentagon is preparing to move into position. B-52 bombers will be sent to the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. More warplanes and reconnaissance aircraft will go to bases in the Persian Gulf. But first, the Air Force must pre-position tanker aircraft in countries along the way to serve as flying gas stations for the combat aircraft. Keeping that so-called air bridge open will almost certainly require more reserve call-ups. And it's just the beginning of a buildup that will also include ground troops, although Pentagon officials refuse to say exactly where all these forces are going.
There are movements, and you will see more movements, and I hope everyone understands, I'm sure the American people understand why we do not want to reveal the details of those movements to people who may be trying to figure out what we're about to do next.
In fact, the administration is still trying to figure out what to do next. One option favored by some senior Pentagon officials calls for targeting not just Osama bin Laden, but Saddam Hussein as well, going all the way to Baghdad and finishing the job President Bush's father started in the Gulf War. Dan?
David Martin at the Pentagon.